This day in sports history. This episode is brought to you by the Sterling Soap Company. Christmas will be here before you know it, and you know what would make a great stocking stuffer for everybody in your family? Sterling Soap. From bar soap to shave soap, beard balm to lip balm, aftershaves and lotions, Sterling Soap has something for everyone on your list. Check out their seasonal soaps that will complement the scents of your home this holiday season. And they're more than just soap. They also have a full line of coffee straight from the Sterling Roastery. Find their full line of products at sterlingsoapcompany.com. It's December 3rd, and on this day in 1950, the Cleveland Browns won a football game without throwing a pass. There are a lot of reasons why a team may not throw the football. Weather could be causing some issues. If you have a foot of snow and a blizzard is making it hard to see 10 feet in front of you, then running the football is a better path. Is that what was going on with the Browns on this day? Well, a little bit, but that wasn't the main reason. Okay, let's see. Your quarterback may have an injured arm, and instead of going with the backup, you need his leadership to motivate your team. How about that? Well, that was not the reason either. The reason that the Cleveland Browns did not throw a pass on this day was to prove a point. Cleveland was playing the Philadelphia Eagles for the second time during the 1950 season. Eagles coach Greasy Neal had been less than complimentary to the newest team in the NFL when the Browns beat his team 35-10 in the season opener behind Otto Graham's 346 yards passing and 3 touchdowns through the air. The Browns had dominated the AAFC, and they were on a mission to prove to the NFL boys that they could play some tough football. But Neal criticized the Browns' constant passing and not running the football. That's not a football team. They play more like a basketball team, he said. That ain't football. Boy, I bet we would destroy those guys if they kept the ball on the ground. So, this was the second to last week of the regular season, and the weather wasn't great for this one. A steady rain had made the Cleveland Stadium field a muddy mess. The Browns got on the board first, but it wasn't Graham or the Cleveland run game that made it happen. Instead, defensive back Warren Lair picked off a pass 2 minutes into this one and returned it 30 yards for the touchdown to put the first points on the board. This turned into a field position battle with Cleveland punting on third down on several possessions. Lou the Toe Groza kicked a field goal to make it 10-0 at the half, and then he kicked another one in the third. The Eagles could not muster any points until their final drive of the game, and Cleveland won 13-7. The Browns were only able to engineer 68 yards in total offense in the win, and they only gained 1 first down all day. Now, they did attempt 1 pass during the game, but an illegal motion penalty negated the play, and so on the stat sheet, Cleveland did not officially throw the football during the game. It is the last time an NFL team did not attempt a pass during a game. On this day in 1992, U.S. sprinter Butch Reynolds was awarded more than $27 million in a lawsuit with the International Amateur Athletic Foundation. Reynolds' problems began on August 12th of 1990 when he was competing in a track meet in Monte Carlo. Reynolds got a call from his agent letting him know that he'd tested positive for steroids, specifically nandrolone. Reynolds, the 400-meter world record holder at the time and the silver medal winner in the 400 meters in the 1988 Seoul Olympics, maintained his innocence, which any athlete who tests positive always does. But there were a lot of janky things about the lab and the testing procedures that came out in the months and years after this positive was announced. 1. Reynolds was tested by an independent lab the following week in Germany. That test did not show the presence of nandrolone, which typically stays in the body for several weeks or even months. 2nd, there was never a chain of custody form issued with either the A or the B samples. That should have immediately discredited the testing lab in Monte Carlo, but it didn't. And next, the samples weren't in tamper-proof packaging, and the tests were conducted in an unsecured lab. And finally, data markers on the A and the B samples did not match, when they should have, which told investigators the samples came from different athletes. Still, the IAAF did not relent. Reynolds was suspended from competition for 2 years, with his suspension ending just after the Barcelona Olympics. Now, in June, the U.S. Supreme Court ruled that Reynolds should be allowed to compete at the U.S. Olympic trials, and while he did not qualify for his main event, the 400 meters, he did qualify as the alternate on the 4x400-meter relay. That did not matter. The IAAF did not recognize the jurisdiction of any U.S. court and barred Reynolds from competing in Barcelona. It even extended his suspension until January of 1993. Reynolds and his attorneys fought the positive drug test, arguing that not only had the lab not handled the samples properly, but the 2-year suspension cost him nearly $5 million in endorsements and appearance money. The U.S. judge added $2 million to that and also awarded $20 million in punitive damages. But once again, the IAAF said the U.S. court system has no jurisdiction, and to this day has not paid any of the $27 million. Are you a hockey fan? Then you'll love Eric Zweig's new book, Hockey Hall of Fame True Stories 2. It's a treasure trove of untold tales, bizarre incidents, and captivating trivia that will leave even the most devoted puckhead astounded. The intense rivalries, epic showdowns, and historic clashes that shaped the NHL's early years, it's all in there. Zweig uncovers the true stories that helped shape the sport, ensuring that you will never look at hockey the same way again. Check out Hockey Hall of Fame True Stories 2 on Amazon or wherever fine books are sold. On this day in 1956, Wilt Chamberlain made his official collegiate debut with the Kansas Jayhawks and set the stage for his dominating career. 15,000 fans stuffed into Allen Fieldhouse to watch the preseason number 1 Jayhawks host Northwestern. Chamberlain was a 7-foot-1-inch tall sophomore out of Philadelphia. Now, back then, freshmen were not allowed to play varsity basketball, and he towered over the others on the court on this night, but it wasn't just his size that made Chamberlain a dominant player. Legendary Kansas coach Phog Allen said, "He easily has greater possibilities than any player we have ever had here. He has coordination, can run, can jump, he can do everything." And on this night, he did. Wilt scored 52 and grabbed 31 rebounds in his first collegiate game as Kansas won easily 87-69. His 52 points set a new Jayhawks record for points scored in a game that still stands to this day. The Big Dipper would go on to average 30 points and 19 rebounds a game that season, leading Kansas to the national championship game against undefeated and top-ranked North Carolina 3.5 months later. Another guy who turned out to be pretty decent made his college debut on this day as well, though a few years after Wilt. On this day in 1966, 7-foot-2-inch Lew Alcindor, who would later become Kareem Abdul Jabbar, played in front of the Pauley Pavilion crowd for the first time. And again, since the NCAA rules prohibited freshmen from playing for a few more years, Alcindor was a sophomore. He bested Wilt's opening night 52 points by scoring 56 in a 105-90 win over crosstown rival USC. This was the start of quite a season for the Bruins, who started as the top-ranked team in the country. They never lost a game, and they beat the Dayton Flyers for the NCAA title in March, going a perfect 30-0 and winning their third national championship under John Wooden. And similar to Wilt's numbers back in 1956, Jabbar averaged 29 points a game and 15.5 rebounds. Also on this day, back in 2000, for the first time ever, 4 NFL running backs rushed for at least 200 yards each on the same day. There was Denver's Mike Anderson, Cincinnati's Corey Dillon, Tampa Bay's Warwick Dunn, and the New York Jets' Curtis Martin, who all topped the double-century mark on the ground. And in 2018, for the first time in a decade, a soccer player not named Messi or Ronaldo won the Ballon d'Or, as Croatia's Luka Modric won soccer's top individual honor. And time now for today's non-sports fun fact. English daredevil Bobby Leach cheated death on many occasions. He was the second person to go over Niagara Falls in a barrel and survive. On several occasions, he jumped out of hot air balloons and performed other death-defying feats working for Barnum and Bailey's Circus. But his demise came in a much more mundane manner. In 1926, Leach slipped on a fruit peel. There's speculation whether it was an orange or a banana, but the resulting fall broke his leg. An infection developed that killed him 2 months later. That's it for today. I'll have more tomorrow on This Day in Sports History. This has been an original Thrive Suite production.